Hey everyone, and welcome to the very first official episode of Tea Time with Mikayla. This is Tea Time, and I'm Mikayla, and you're listening on the Broadway Podcast Network. Friends, the kettle is officially on, and the tea puns begin. I am so excited to welcome you to the first ever episode of Tea Time with Mikayla. My dream is that this podcast can be a space where we can have smart, warm, humorous, tea-themed conversations about the arts and entertainment. Because I really want to get to the bottom of what is happening in our industry. I have questions. So many questions. I'm sure we all do. We're watching the industry change in real time. In the year of our Lord, 2026, we are noticing major shifts in how shows survive, how artists take care of themselves, how auditions happen, how we produce new work, how careers are built. And I want to understand and learn. So I am putting on my little Nancy Drew meets Harriet the Spy hat and getting to the bottom of it all. My goal is to create a thoughtful space for creatives to share stories about their career craft and their personal evolution through candid, warm conversations, but also give them a platform to truly be themselves and share what it's like to be a human in the middle of all of it. I also want to ask all of the questions that you are probably itching to ask but never get the chance to. The things you wonder about auditions, representation, casting, sustaining a career, building a creative life, and what actually happens behind the scenes, especially now as we are experiencing the whiplash and the impact of what the last 5 to 6 years has done to our industry. A little about me, I'm primarily a musical theater performer. However, I have gotten into this industry through every side door imaginable as a performer, comedian, creator, producer, and someone who has built so much of her career around community and connection. It's important for me to contribute and share all the things I learned, all the things I wish I knew, give you an extra tool in your toolbox, some more resources so you feel empowered and inspired, but more importantly, hopeful and happy about contributing to this wonderful community. My goal has always been Broadway, whose is not. But more importantly than that, I've asked myself over the years, is being on Broadway an ego thing? Is that just a goal you set when you were a kid that you always wanted to do? Or is this really the mission of your life? And what I have found is while Broadway would be a wonderful step, and I am, fully subscribing to the Delulu of, pick me, choose me, love me, I really feel that the arts is the heartbeat behind what it is to be human. And it gives us all so much to connect to and resonate with and feel fully present in this crazy life we're living. So regardless of what specific goals you put out for yourself and whether or not they actually happen, the more important thing is your mission in life. And I feel mine is talking? ? We'll see. More so campaigning, hype girling, connecting the dots, bringing people together. And I think that a podcast is a wonderful space for that. The Broadway Podcast Network is such a wonderful space for that. And whether or not I get to live any specific personal goals or dreams of mine, the more important thing is that I am in the heartbeat of it all and contributing in a way that is hopeful and positive and, giving us all a little bit of joy. So here's the podcast, and I really hope that you enjoy it. And I think that you will. And here's why. Because our first guest is phenomenal. I could not think of a better first guest to pour the first cup with than McKenzie Kurtz. McKenzie is one of those performers who makes excellence look effortless, which, as you will hear in this conversation, does not mean it is effortless. You may know her from Frozen, Wicked, Heathers, The Heart of Rock and Roll, and now Schmigadoon, where she is bringing her signature warmth, comedy, vocal range, and her full Broadway sparkle to the stage. In this episode, we are talking about opening a show, surviving tech, vocal health, self-tapes, audition prep, learning when to say no, tea, and what it takes to sustain 8 shows a week, and how to balance being a real human being amidst all of this. Oh my goodness. We get into her self-tape process, the Heather Chandler belt to legit soprano pipeline, CVS makeup wins, and why sometimes the most important thing you can do for your career is sleep. Mackenzie is generous, funny, grounded, and so honest about the reality behind the magic. So pour yourself something warm or cool. It is June 1st. Settle in and welcome to the first official episode of Tea Time with Mikayla with McKenzie Kurtz.
Okay, hey. We are
Hi.
here with McKenzie Kurtz. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. We're here on a Friday afternoon. This is great. You just opened a whole show. So, like, where are you at today? Are you in show mode yet? Are you in real life mode? What are we up to?
I feel like I don't even, well, first off, I'm like, what day is it? It's Friday
Ah.
right now. We opened on Monday. So I feel like the past couple days have been just kind of settling in and chilling out a bit, just trying to get back into the rhythm of life and, day to day. It's nice to have my days free right now again. But yeah, kind of settling back in, enjoying doing the show, loving going into work every night. It's a blast.
I love that. What is your tech schedule like? Are you there all day? Then you get a dinner break. You do the preview?
Yeah, so we luckily had a pretty quick preview process. And so we'd get called in the morning and then we'd have dinner break and then we would do the show during previews. But we froze the show. I want to say last Thursday we did have to come in to shoot B-roll. Which was a lot, and that was a long day. But then, like Friday, we had the day, and then we did do 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, and then opened on Monday, which was crazy.
Oh my God.
But
Oh my God. Are you well?
yeah, barely. But no,
Okay.
we made it through, we got through, and that was what the schedule was looking like.
Amazing. Incredible. How do you take care of yourself? Like, we're going to ask that in general later, but like, how do you take care of your body and yourself while you're doing that? Because that
Oh
is a
man.
lot.
For me, sleep is so important. I mean, for everyone, but I am someone I'm like, I need a good amount of sleep just to be a nice human being. So prioritizing, seriously, like prioritizing sleep, obviously drinking water constantly, warming up before every show, physically, vocally, and trying to eat healthy, even though it's really hard because during the preview process, everyone's always bringing in little treats and then opening, you get all the goodies. And so yesterday I was in my dressing room and I was like, oh, I'll just have some candy and some cookies and other things like
Just a
they had
little.
pretzels. Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, trying to eat healthy and also for me, trying to get outside if it's sunny, like during the day, just to get some sunshine because I feel like I've been in the dark for like 6 weeks. But
No,
yeah.
that's real. And this weather in New York, for anyone that's tuning in not from New York right now, it has been hell and a half. Like
Yeah.
one day I'm getting sunburned, the next day I'm wearing a coat. So
Yes. That has
you're
been very interesting dealing with the weather changes and like our voices too, because it's also allergy season. The weather is whack. So that's been something to navigate for sure.
Do you have any go-tos, quick fixes, or just maintaining your body for stuff like
I
that? I'm a throat coat girl, as
yeah.
we all are.
Love throat coat. I mean, I literally have my Ricolas right next to me right
Yes.
now. But water, I think my nebulizer, steaming, yeah, all that good stuff, all that fun stuff.
Do you use the Vocal Mist one? Like the
I
portable
do. I
nebulizer?
do. Yes.
I love it so much.
I know that
It
thing.
is
I have
so
like
great.
3 of them. They're all, I don't even know where. One's in my bag, one's in my kitchen, one's in my dressing room. They're everywhere.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. I feel like that's so, the portable aspect makes it so
So
much better.
handy. So
Yeah.
convenient for sure.
Oof. Okay. Well, okay. So what drew you to Schmigadoon in the first place? Was this something you were approached with, something you wanted to work on? What is the process for like that?
I actually auditioned for the TV show in 2021 maybe or like 2022 for Betsy for
Okay.
the Apple TV series, and when I first saw it I'm like, this is hilarious. I love this. I feel like nothing really like this exists. And so
Yeah.
I was very intrigued and obviously it didn't go my way then, but then I was approached with doing just a workshop of it and I was like, "Oh, are they
Mhm.
bringing this to the stage? Because if so, heck yeah." Like this I was
Yeah.
obsessed with this a couple years ago. So I think that happened in like 2023. I came in to do just like a 29-hour reading of it and Yeah, and then was approached again to do the out of town tryout, and we did like one more workshop of it after that, and now here we are on Broadway, which is wild. But yeah, I thought it was so funny when the show came out too. I watched like bits of it. I didn't watch it in its entirety, and then when I found out I was
Mhm.
going to be doing it on stage, I went back and like looked at a few things, but again, I didn't know if I wanted to watch it in its whole because I just wanted to try to like have its own life and like kind
Yeah.
of yeah, just like exist on its own in that way, but definitely watch some clips and think it's so hilarious. So, yeah, that was
So
a big
good.
draw.
That's so cool, though. I feel like a lot of actors, we're just submitting our self tapes into the abyss, not having clarity on if the work you're submitting and doing is being seen. But the fact that the long game is real, people
Yeah,
are thinking of you, they value your work, and the right opportunity will come at the right time. So that's incredible.
totally. Yeah. Thank you.
I love that. Do you feel like the last 6 years of your life have been a whirlwind? Because I was doing research and I'm like, okay, so you're a Jimmy's girl, you
Yeah.
work at the Muni, right? And then it's like you're principal after principal, but over the course of COVID years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's a whirlwind. How did you adjust to all of that?
It really has been a whirlwind. I mean, I was so lucky in that I graduated in May of 2019, and then I worked at
Mhm.
the Muni that summer, had a fantastic experience, and then moved to New York right after that. And within like a month and a half being here, I was so fortunate that I booked my first job, which was playing Anna in Frozen.
Get it done.
Like dream scenario, dream situation. I was so excited. Started rehearsals for that in January of 2020 and then made
Oh
my
my God.
debut in February and got to do it for like a little over a month. And then obviously everything shut down. So that was
That,
a crazy time, just, in itself. But I went
yeah.
home obviously thinking, "Oh, they said 2 weeks, like, we'll be back, and I just get, like, to go see my family for 2 weeks." And then that turned into months, and then we got a call in the summer of 2020. Obviously, nothing was happening at that time, but then we got the news that once Broadway did reopen, unfortunately, Frozen would not be coming back at all. So that
Mhm.
was a really tough time, and I had felt like I had, like, reached my dream and it was like in my grasp and then it was kind of just gone in the blink of an eye and it was rough. It was rough. I mean, for many reasons, but that was one of them. So I was kind of back and forth. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, so I was home in Georgia and then kind of popping back and forth from New York to Georgia, doing a few different things throughout that time period. I was in Annie Live, which shot
Oh,
here in New
yeah.
York. And so I came back for that, which was also just a crazy experience because COVID was still very real during that time. So taking all those precautions and being in rehearsals in full
Mhm.
masks and like the testing of it all, that was really crazy. And doing
Did
a
they make
few
you come in separate to test? Because whenever I went on set for SNL, it was like we had a different day that we had to go in and test and then come in again and test before we're even allowed on
we
set.
were doing, they had us like take home the tests. And then I
Okay.
think a couple times they had people like when we all went to the studio to record and do like rehearsals and camera marking and stuff, then I think they were bringing us in at different times to test people, which was just, it was bonkers. Like that was craziness.
It's so weird to live
Yeah.
through that. And the
Yeah.
fact that it was so recent and it's still in many ways like we're not COVID testing anymore, but it's normal to see a mask on the subway now. And it's
Yes.
like, ooh, we went through some trauma,
Yeah. That
to say the
happened.
least. That happened.
That fully happened. But yeah, so I was kind of back and forth and then ended up really officially moving back at the beginning of 2023. Even though I'd had an apartment in there for like 6 months, I was subletting a place, but
Mhm.
yeah, officially moving back the beginning of 2023 and that's when I started Wicked. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. The past few years has been pretty crazy.
That is incredible. You probably know my friend Carissa. She was in Frozen. She was
Yes.
understudying. So that was crazy hearing from her vantage. I mean, she's done so many things, including Heather's.
Others. Yeah. Sweet
She's
and so
such a
talented.
talented and disciplined person. And I feel like
Yeah.
from what I know of you, you have to be disciplined to be able to handle the workload
I
you're doing.
try.
We do what we can. Tell me about your audition process for Heathers, because you made that video where you're like, I'm locked in for this
Yeah.
callback. I was like, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you tell casting. I'm locked in. I'm ready. This is exactly what you're looking for.
So I think with that, I think they announced it was coming back and it was going to be at New World Stages. So I immediately texted my agent and I'm like, I have got to get in for this. I love this show. I would listen to it in my car all the time, like senior year of high school, was obsessed. And so when I knew it was coming back, I'm like, okay, I have to get an audition for this. And they were like, great, we'll let's see what we can do. And so I ended up going in, and that's when that video was shot when I went in for the audition. It was my friend Olivia, who then ended up getting cast as Heather Duke.
Stunning.
She was just sitting across from me and we went to school together. And I was like, can you just like take a clip of me really quick? I'm like, if this goes in a good direction, this would be really funny to have. And I'm glad I had it, because then I made this stupid TikTok later on. But yeah, so I went in, I was there like all day, and I think we danced in the morning, learned some Candy Store choreography. I went in to sing Candy Store. They brought us in different groups, and we did some sides and different pairings of Heathers. And then at the end of the day, they were like, come in and just sing something from your book. Like, what's something that you like love to sing? And I'm like, oh God.
Oh, so they do that.
Oh yeah.
They will throw the book out. Okay.
Oh yes. And I was like, thank God I have my book. Some people like didn't have their book. And I was like, by the grace of God, I just slipped it in my bag right before I left, thinking like maybe. But yeah, so then sang, and then I was released, and then I got the call like a week later that I was offered the job, and I was so excited. So excited.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me more about your book. How often do you actually have to use your book versus bringing in material? But what was your song? What did you
I
do?
have not honestly used my book in years. And so
Yeah.
I cannot believe that thank God, had it that day. I ended up singing Whatever Happened to My Part from Spamalot in the style of Heather Chandler. So I was like, how would Heather sing this? Because, it's literally, the other name for it is Diva's Lament. And so I'm like, yeah, Heather, okay, let's like make this work. So
wasn't that your Jimmy song?
It was my Jimmy
song. That's a full circle. Okay.
Right? Yeah. That's been in my book since I was like 16, playing Lady of the Lake in high school. And you know what? It's a tried and true. It has not failed me. So yeah, that's what I used. It's been a minute since we dusted that off. Thank God it worked.
That's incredible. I feel like doing material that I've already done on stage feels better for me because I'm more in my own body. I've practiced it. I can be a little more present. Do you feel the same way? Because
yeah, I agree with that. I love doing songs that I have either auditioned with before. I never am someone I'm like, let's pull out this thing that I've never done or performed in front of people ever, just because it's nice to like have. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh. Your face.
Go for it.
Can't help but laugh. Yeah, I think that's so smart. And just for me, like, I'm someone, before I even go into an audition, I like to do a mock audition. And the amount of times I've had my sister or my mom sit in front of me and pretend to be the people that I'm auditioning for, and walk in and introduce myself and say, I'm going to be singing this, and then try it maybe one time where the reader's on the left side or the reader's on the right side, just so I know what that's going to feel like when I'm in the room.
Right.
I like to have a plan. And so I am someone that definitely, I like to pull from things that I have done and used before, for sure.
That checks. And that is so reassuring, because I feel like when we're insular and finding our own audition process, in a way, we're all going to feel like little freaks. I have done this with my best friend. I have rented out a studio in Pearl if we're both called back for something, and we just put it on tape, but we pretend to be the auditor and just see how it goes. So I have never heard someone confirm that we do this, but thank God that we do this.
Yes. Oh,
okay.
I love to do that, and I recommend it to everybody. I'm like, why not? Just like set yourself up for success. Do all the things you can to like make you feel as comfortable as possible. I think that's such a smart move.
Agreed. How do you memorize material? Are you someone that you have to get it on your feet, or can you just sit and metabolize it?
I start just sitting and kind of reading it totally through, and then kind of just going like section by section and like adding on and going back and just I start out by myself and then I'll, ask a friend to be like, can you just run this with me a few times and then I'll put it on my feet. And I love to memorize before I go to bed because I feel like right before I go to sleep, I'll like look at it and then go to bed. And then in the night, magic happens and I wake up and I'm like, oh, I know this way better than I thought I did. So I love doing
Yes,
that.
like your REM cycle through osmosis just
Yes.
like
Yeah.
imprints it in your brain. I love that. Yes.
Downloading.
Okay, so tell me what is favorite is subjective because every role has their joys, but what has it been like to originate a role even though Schmigadoon has its own other life on TV? And you've originated other roles as well. So is there a difference between developing a role and process versus coming into a role that you are making your own that has been established already? What are the
Definitely.
differences? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite. It's like both are so fun and have their own joys and their own complications at times. And I think like stepping into like the role of Glinda, like I have all of my favorite Glindas from the past and grew up as a fan first. So I
Mhm.
wanted to bring, my original take on this character, but also nodding to these incredible actresses that have come before me. And like literally, when I would see performances, I'd be like, oh my God, I loved when Megan did this, or I loved when Cara Lindsay
Mhm.
did this. So trying to maybe take that and find my own version of like that moment or whatever it is that's happening. And that's really cool. And then it can also still evolve throughout the entire year that you're doing it. But then something like The Heart of Rock and Roll that I
Mhm.
originated and like had no real prior kind of view on that part. That was the first time I'd ever really done something like that. And I found that the more reps I got and when we were like during the preview process is when I felt like I honestly found that character. Like rehearsals, I'm like, this is just kind of let's try this, let's try that and see what sticks. But then like getting
Mhm.
it on its feet and like doing the reps and like making discoveries night after night, that was when I really feel like I like found who Cassandra was. And
Right.
then with Schmigadoon, like obviously I've seen the clips of Dove Cameron and I love what she does with this role, but also TV is going to be something completely different than Broadway. And so the other cool thing about Schmigadoons is like it's drawing on these kind of classic golden age musical theater tropes. So I'm like, let me go look at like the Ado Annies of the past.
Okay.
And you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like drawing
Mhm.
on that and then also bringing some of my own little quirks and bits to the part is fun too. So I don't know if I have a favorite. I love both. I think replacing and originating both give you the opportunity to just bring yourself to it. But and then it's also fun to be able to like look back on things that others have done before you and think, oh, I love this. And let me see
Mhm.
what my version of that is. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry if that was rambling, but
No, I love it. It makes sense because there are so many benefits to both. Across the board, do you feel like you lock in more once you get on stage where there's lighting and there's costumes? I feel like
for sure.
I know what the role is going to be, but once you really lock into all the other sensory elements of that, it's a whole other layer is added. Is that part of the process for you where you're like, ooh,
Yes, and I used to kinda have like, when I was younger, I hated auditioning because I'm like, "Just put me in the costume and, like, put me" and, like, I can do it, like, I know I can do it, and
mhm,
I need these things, and I've gotten much better at that over the years, but it is so true when you have the costume, when you have the lights, when you're, like, in situ and it's happening, I think it makes it obviously so much easier having those tangible elements around you, but yeah, I think so.
okay, cool. So now I'm thinking, well, scoot back to Wicked, but we won't spend too much time on that. But audition for Wicked. Did you self tape or did you go straight to the room?
I self-taped. My first self-tape, I think, was in the summer of 2019. And then I think when I got to New York that fall, they called me
Mhm.
in person and I went in for an in-person audition. And then this is a little known fact. I was actually offered Glinda on tour in like
Ooh.
2020. It was like 2022 and my agent and I had like just kind of gotten back to the city and it was when COVID was still kind of going on and they were like, we really think you should wait. And turning that down was the hardest thing I think I have ever done in my life because it was like dream role, dream show. And I'm like, okay, like if you guys say so. So I politely declined. And I was like, I just got back to New York. I want to be in New York. I want to be here. Um, and then I think I maybe went in like one more time. And months later, like 10 months later, at the end of 2022, got a call out of the blue and was offered the part, which was
Oh my
like
gosh.
insane. I mean, I was not expecting it at all. And that was like one of the best days of my life.
Oh my god, I would be sobbing on the floor.
Yeah.
But that is incredible too because so many people have I don't want to say a scarcity mindset, it's saying no to things that you would really enjoy, but it's just not the proper alignment at the right time or there's part of it that is just slightly off. Being able to advocate for yourself or having your team help advocate for you and saying no to something that is good because we are trying so hard to have work and so much of our industry is being in between jobs. So to have something offered to you that you want, but it's not quite right, or you have to trust your team to say something better is there for you. You just have to give it a little more time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But this is like tried and true. Like you can say no and things will still work out.
I fully believe that. I fully believe what's meant to happen, what is meant for you will come to you and will happen. So, yeah.
Yay. Okay, so T on the Glenda self tape because I'm sure many of us have been through the self tape of it or have read the
Yeah.
packet. How do you even? How everyone's approach is going to be different. And no matter what anybody says, you have to be authentic to what feels right for you. But
Yeah.
let's say you're Mackenzie, you're looking at that self tape material and you're supposed to act in the bubble, but you've got the backdrop behind you. And now you're singing legit, but you don't want to blow out the mic. And then the popular scene, it's like, okay, like she's crying on the bed, but there is no bed. And you just have to
Yes.
use this space to play hide and physicality. What do
Yeah.
you do?
That's a good question. I mean, again, I think what's beautiful about Glinda is it's like all the actors that have played her and their different takes on things have been so different. And so it's like whatever your instincts are, go with your instinct of what you think is right and what you think Glinda would do in this moment. But also, I think it's so important. And the trap that I think a lot of people do fall into is it's like, "Oh, she's crazy and zany and like, all over the place," but it's like, but what is the truth and still playing the truth? And she's a real person. She's a real human. You don't want to just play crazy to be crazy, you know? And like, I
Hmm.
have to remind myself of that sometimes because I will get carried away and do bonkers things. But I'm like, but what is the truth here? What's her objective? And then through those tactics, what tactics is she using to get what she wants? And, but as a person, as a character, like, how would she go about that? And maybe that lends itself to some of her Glinda isms, as what I guess I'll call them. Yeah, it's
Yes.
like, and when it comes to like the whole bubble of it all and the bed scene of it all, I think for me, I was like, I'm going to forget about, especially the popular scene. I think I'm just going to forget about the jump. I don't have that here to me. So, what would the scene be if I didn't have that? What would she be doing? What are some choices I could make that if I didn't have that here, if I didn't have the wand with me, if the
Hmm.
bubble is not here? I still want it to be very presentational and like I am this public figure speaking to people. So I'm not even gonna necessarily like mime this bubble happening. It's like it's whatever feels
Right.
good and right to you while also keeping it truthful.
That is really helpful. And I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate that because translating musical theater to self tapes has been the bane of my existence, but also what a gift to learn so many new skills and get material on tape and perhaps be seen more than you would
For sure. Yes.
otherwise. But oh my gosh, it's so hard because you're
I
playing
hate
into this
self-taping.
medium that I'm like, I don't know where to look. Even right now, I'm like, I'm looking at you. What should I be? I don't know. It's fine.
Whatever.
It's
Whatever.
fine. Yeah, it's
Really hard, and it's like I have had to limit my self-tape tries because I'm such a perfectionist and I'll look at it and find something wrong with every single thing I do. So I'd much rather be able to go in person and it's the one and done. But it's like,
mhm,
that's your one thing. That's your shot. And I don't give myself room to pick every little thing apart. But now I'm going into it and I'm like, okay, you get 3 tries in this and then it's done. Because after 3, I feel like it just gets worse and worse. And I spiral.
mhm.
I will spiral.
Yeah. Or I'll do a couple, I'll put it away, and then I'll look at it the next day and be like, okay,
That's
fresh take. I'll do the rehearsal run of what the self tape will be. But yeah, especially with singing, do you feel like you've only got a couple of goes a day at a certain
yeah.
vocal range and it's like, we're done?
Absolutely, yeah, the songs are the worst because you don't wanna blow out your voice, and then you get more and more frustrated, and then the tension starts happening, and it's just, like, a disaster of a situation. So, that's something too where I'm like, "Okay, I will give myself 3 tries, and then I have to step away." Whether I come back to it or not, we'll see, like, if I need to review it, and I'm like, "I need to try this one more time," but don't stress yourself out trying to make that happen. It's hard enough. Don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah. And I think the teams behind the table know that as well. And
Yes.
often are so gracious because they
Yes.
know what they're asking of you and they don't expect perfection. What does it take to sustain the level of performance that you're doing 8 shows a week, comma, potentially auditioning for other projects at the same time? Because was there overlap with Heather's and Schmigadoon, or at this point you had already done the workshop, so you had a better timeline?
Yeah, so for, Heather's, there was no overlap, thank God. I ended up just advocating for myself and taking more time off because I knew I was gonna be starting this process,
Hmm.
and I had done Wicked into Heart of Rock and Roll, so
Oh.
and for, like, I think 4 weeks of double duty, and it
Okay.
was the very end of Wicked, and that was a disaster, and I was so sick, I got so ill, I was stressed about missing rehearsals for this new Broadway show, I was stressed about missing shows of this beloved show that I wanted to be there so desperately for and close out my run, and so I
Mhm.
knew I was like, "There's I don't if I can help it, I really don't wanna ever have to do that again," because it was just not good on my body, it wasn't good on my mental health, so
Mhm.
luckily there was no overlap. I am of course, I'm saying this now, I'm starting 3 weeks of double duty next week,
Ah!
but managed to, go to the team and say, "I really would love to do this, but
Mhm.
I need these days off," and just trying to advocate for myself because I never want to just, like, kill myself like I did with that schedule. It was nuts. It was crazy. So, yeah, just again, sleep, taking care of myself. The next 3 weeks, I won't be doing anything social. Like, that's just social life has to kinda go away, but then knowing once I get to the end of these 3 weeks, I will take a day for myself and do whatever I want, and, like, you know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
balance, and it's like, you have to be comfortable setting boundaries with yourself and with other people in your life, and just taking care of yourself the best you can.
Do you feel like the people in your life are I'm sure they are understanding of that, but is your inner circle all theater people or kindred spirits, or are there
For
folks that
sure.
it is hard to establish those boundaries because it's just hard for non-theater people to understand sometimes
Yeah,
how
no, yeah.
opposite our schedules are?
I'm really lucky that a lot of my close friends, my family, my boyfriend are all theater people or theater adjacent, and so they know what it's about, so I never feel any stress, of someone who doesn't get it or is trying to, like,
Mhm.
hang out, so that's really nice to have. That's the other thing too, having those people in my life that are super supportive and understanding and know what it's about. That's something that I don't think I could be doing what I'm doing without those people in my life.
Do you ever have vocal rest days where you're
For
with your
sure.
friends or your family and you're like, can't
Yep.
talk to you?
The amount of times I've talked to my friends and family via, like, Google Translate, just pulling up, like, typing and they get it. Like, it's annoying, obviously, but they totally get it, and no one would give me crap about it because they know it's just part of the job, part of the gig.
Yes. Can I tell you the most heinous thing? I had a vocal rest day. I live with my partner. I found an app that can read it out loud like Google Translate, but you can use different voices. So I just had Snoop Dogg's voice say everything that I wanted
Wait,
to
I
say to my
need
guy.
that. I
So it was
need
like, hey, baby boy, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for making me that tea, honey. Like,
That's
I love you so
hilarious.
much. But it was Snoop Dogg. And I was like, this might change the game for vocal rest days.
Yeah.
I'm,
That's
yeah.
incredible. I just had, like, the British person on Google Translate or whatever it is. I don't even know what it is, but
But
that's
nice little
awesome.
proper RP for the day.
Yes,
I like
yeah.
that. Okay, so then let's talk Wicked into Hard and Rock and Roll. Question for that. those are two vastly different styles of singing. Are you marking rehearsals? How do you prep your voice to change that much and meet different demands
Yeah.
within?
It's a crazy time, and honestly, someone was asking me about this the other day, just that time period of overlap, and I was like, "Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I think I kinda blacked out a little bit
Ah,
'cause it was crazy."
yes.
But I remember singing the Heart of Rock and Roll material and being like, "Why is this so difficult for me?" What I think would have been a piece of cake a couple years ago, I'm really struggling to find the pocket and where I'm supposed to be. And it's so true that when you sing a certain material and when it's placed in a certain place in your voice for 8 shows a week for over a year, it's
Mhm.
like that's a muscle, and then your voice is like, "Wait, what are you doing? Why are you trying to sound different?" And so there was a period of, like, kind of getting back on track with that, and what helped too was I think I remember I tried to start singing a bit more pop rocky material going into the rehearsal process, just like in my day-to-day. I could have done a better job at that, and I wish I had enlisted the help of my now vocal coach to like help smooth that transition. We got there eventually, and I think again when we were in the previews process is when I felt like I really found that character and then also found the comfortability of like my big act 2 song that I had to do and finding where that would sit in my voice. But it took a second for sure to
I
readjust.
bet. Yeah, just being able to do this every day must be
Exactly.
wild.
Yeah.
So, who is on your team, either who or what, that are non negotiables for your mental and physical health? You have your vocal coach. Are you a PT person, acupuncture? Are you going to the gym? What is
I
your scope?
Sarah Brown is my vocal coach. Shout out Sarah.
Mm.
She's so great. Love her so much. Also, I sometimes will have check-ins with my college voice professor, Chelsea Packard, who is a
Oh,
former Alphaba too. She's great. Love her. I have recently been kind of getting into the gym. I'm not a big gym person, but then of course opening happened, and so I feel like I've had to like chill out for a second, but the gym has
yeah.
been really nice and I've enjoyed going to the gym, and I feel like it just helps my mental health more than anything and gives me something else to kind of focus on. So that's been great. I do get PT not regularly, but like if like there's an old injury that's acting up or bothering me, and that's through the show, which is great. I
Mhm.
definitely also like to treat myself to just like honestly getting a massage like
Yes.
at least once a month, and just also I've done like specifically jaw and like mouth massage too, like with helping with tongue tension and jaw tension. That's
Do they
something.
like go in your mouth with
Oh
the
yeah,
glove and
they're
massage the
in there.
masseter?
Yeah, they're in
I
there.
game changer.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. I need to like book one of those because I feel like I've just been like
Mhm.
I think that, and then just also like having my family and friends in my life too, and seeing people outside of the show is a big non-negotiable for me. I'm like, I need to see these folks and check in with these people because that's something that helps me in the day to day too.
Is there any like music or books or TV shows that you like to watch, or is there like no time? Is there any palate cleansing activity?
Yeah. Lately, you know what I've been doing? I've been coming home at night and I put on a Disney movie. So
Yes, a little Disney
I'm
Channel
like, I
original.
just want something that I like don't have to really like lock in for, and I can just enjoy it and relax and like have my little nighttime snack and chill out. So I watched Hercules the other night.
Yes.
Um I was watching the second Maleficent movie the other
Ooh,
night. Was I watching? I watched some of the Marvel movies.
okay.
And these are all things I've seen before, but it's just, something to just kind of like unwind. Just got a new book the other day, but I haven't started it yet. But like I have a lot of downtime in Act 2 in Schmigadoon, which is really nice. So I'm like, gotta
Mhm.
start. I want to bring a book to the theater instead of scrolling.
I hear you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Love that. And there is such a joy in revisiting stuff that you used to watch as a kid or an adult and
Yeah.
be like, ooh, there's a new tone of humor in this I didn't catch the last time. Like Hercules is, I love it. I still
I
have the
love
plates from
Hercules.
McDonald's. Did you
Do
ever
you
have
really?
those?
Yes. Yes. I know what
Yeah.
you're.
Whenever I go home in New Jersey, my mom's like, here's your little mega plate. And I'm like,
That's
wow,
really cute.
it is
That's so sweet.
sweet.
I love Hercules.
Back when McDonald's gave good toys.
Yeah.
Okay. Backstage must haves. Anything?
Gruthers. nebulizer. What else? I mean, Ricolas. Also, I keep my little gauze pads backstage to do my tongue stretches before the show.
Okay, that's smart. I've used
Yeah.
paper towels, but I never thought of gauze. That's
Yeah.
like,
I just have these little like gauze guys that I just ordered from like Amazon or something.
yeah.
I've used in a pinch. I'm like paper towel works just fine. Yeah, that's I think what I have like on my station and like makeup and obviously.
Oh, okay. Wait, pause there because your
Yes.
makeup always looks so good. Can you please
Thank
explain
you.
how you figured this out and like what are you using? Loaded question, but like share
No,
anything.
that's very kind of you to say. I feel like just from doing makeup for so many years, doing shows, like that's how I
Mhm.
kind of taught myself, I guess. I will say people ask a lot like what setting spray do you use? I do not use setting spray. I love the two things that I think like are my holy grail products are Elf Poreless Putty Primer. I love that
Yes.
primer, and it's, like, kinda, like, creamy. It's not, like, liquidy. It's like a cream.
Right. But you
And
can like
then
tap it into your port,
yep.
right?
Oh, I love that
Yes.
stuff. And then the Maybelline Fit Me loose powder and just
Oh,
using a powder puff and, like, I powder the crap out of my face, and it's like I love that stuff. Love it. Big fan of
that's
that.
incredible. Okay. You're like a Renaissance woman, like a little powder.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. What's happening with like the highlighter lip right now? Because I try to
Uh,
do this and I look like a baby drag queen. So how are you
no!
doing it so well?
I think my highlighter is just, like, Wet n Wild highlighter from, like, CVS,
She's wet
and
and
then
wild.
Wet n
Okay.
Wild, baby, and then the lip is I love using MAC lip liner. That's something I've
Hmm.
used since high school. I think this is the shade Soar, I wanna say, and then for lipstick, I just use, like I think it's Revlon in just, like, a kind of pinky nude shade. I pretty much get all my products from CVS, like, I'm not except, like, MAC, and
This is
then
a big win for the CVS receipts.
yeah, no, oh, yeah, for real. Yeah, but I use a lot of drugstore products, but I'm telling you, the powder just, like, smooths everything out. It's really good.
I am going to try this. This is great. I
Yeah.
was a drugstore girl for forever, and now I'm spending too much money at Sephora because expensing it off your taxes if you're doing a show. Have you done this?
Yes,
This
yes,
has
that is
changed my life.
yeah, yeah. No,
But
that's
we
a
could
big
still,
we
yeah,
could
we
still
could still
do the CVS ones. I do.
exactly. And you get more discounts, you get more deals. You
Put
can
in your
probably
number. Yes.
yeah, I can make a whole dress out of the amount of material that comes out from those receipts, but it is fine. It helps me
Yeah.
slow down. Is there anything that people don't know about you that you wish they did? And that can mean
Ooh,
anything.
I don't know. Anything that people don't
Like
know.
the way that you are perceived by people either online or in shows versus like you as a real 3D person every day. Like what is something you wish people knew about either your energy, personality, things you enjoy, anything?
I think maybe a couple years ago I would have had a better answer to this question, but now I feel like people had an idea of maybe like me just from my social media. Um, and people always being like, "Oh, she's" I've had many of my friends come up to me and be like, "I thought you were gonna be s bitch before I met you," and,
Un
like, just, like, very, like, stone cold, and I'm like, "That is the complete opposite of who I am," but now I feel like as the years have gone by, maybe more people do know that about me, that I'm, like, very silly and, like, I just like to have a good time, and I'm very low key, not a fan of any drama, like and I
Mhm.
feel like people didn't really know that, and, like, even some of my friends in the Heathers cast, a lot of which are younger, and some of them, like, still in college and, like, the first day of
Mhm.
rehearsal, and now I've had friends come up to me and be like, "I was scared to talk to you on the first day of rehearsal." I'm like, "Why? That is crazy to me," but I don't know. No, I'm just a fun-loving dude, and I really just am, like, very chill. I like to have a good time. I like to be kind to people, and that's but I feel like I hope people know that about me now, but yeah.
I'm sure they do. I mean, it's
Yeah.
already clear. It's interesting that as we get to more professional stages, the drama kind of peters out because if you're there
Yeah.
for that long, it's like nobody has time to judge
No.
people or create drama. It's like we just want to do the show and go to sleep
Let's
and have a good
let's just
time.
go to work and say, "Hi, how are ya?" Do the show, have some fun, and then go home. That's like
Yes,
what that's the dream. That's the dream.
exactly. Maybe this is due to early aughts culture, where in reality TV shows and judging each
Yeah.
other and always being pit against other women. But if you're a kind, talented, smart, pretty woman and you're calm and you're grounded, suddenly you're a bitch. And why?
Yes,
But
that's
that
real.
doesn't have to be true. Like you can be in
No.
your own power, grounded and calm without having to show everybody that you're approachable or I don't know. Sometimes the quiet is perceived as being bitchy when it
As
is
being
truly just
mean.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
either you're kind and you're shyer than people think, or you're just not expending extra energy and trying to be so outward, especially like performers. I don't know if this is how you feel. Being on stage, you exert so much of your energy that off stage, it's like, I don't need to emote.
Uh,
I am just going to sit here and be myself.
yeah, especially right after a show, I feel like I get super anxious sometimes, and it's because I get overstimulated, and I'm like, "I need to just,
Mhm.
like, be by myself for a second," and I never want it to be, like, coming off as me being, like, mean, but I'm like, I just need a second to, like, decompress for a second. And in social settings sometimes too, with people just like, even just, like, at a party, at a thing, like, I'm like, "I need to go in the corner for a second, or I need to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom and just, like,
Mhm.
decompress." It's a
The
thing.
bathroom is the best place because you could just sit
Yeah,
there for a minute and be like, okay.
I'm
Do
good.
you feel
Yeah.
like, is it odd if this is happening to you where people start to recognize you or know who you are in the last 5 years or so?
Yes,
Is
I
that a
think
thing in the city where
for
people like
sure.
double take you?
Yeah, it has
How is
happened, and
that?
it's really cool, like, it's so awesome, but I will say with that too comes people that feel like they have this kind of parasocial relationship, and they feel like they just constantly have access to you and that you're
Mhm.
your friends, like, there was someone last night at the stage door that snapped at me, and I was like, "What?"
No.
I was like, "What is going on here?" Like, that is crazy just because he thought that me not signing this like, people bring, like, blank pages of paper to the stage door and
Mhm.
get people to sign. I'm sure you've seen this, and then they, like, sell these things, and so I
Right.
politely was like, "I'm not no, I'm not I don't sign," and then immediately it was like, "Why not? Everyone else is," like, and then was being so rude, and I'm like, "That's crazy, you guys, like, let's just be kind to each other. What are we doing?"
Yes.
That's, like, one instance, but it's ho honestly so cool, and I appreciate it, and I have a lot of really awesome fans that have just, like, followed my career throughout the past few years, and, like, people that have come to see Schmigadoon now that were, like, saw me in Frozen for the 1 month I was in Frozen, and, like,
Oh my
I think
gosh.
it's really, really awesome and special, and, like, I love having connections with those people, but at the same time, like, it can be kind of overstimulating when you're in a space like that and people are like constantly coming up to you like it can be wild, so I think we just always want to approach people with like kindness and like understanding and like it's not personal, it's like let's just all be nice to each other. I feel like the guy
Yes.
from Mean Girls or the girl from Mean Girls where it's like
Yeah. Let's just all make
let's just
cupcakes and
whatever that line is.
oh my, why can't I remember it? I used to be able to like quote the
Can
whole
we
show.
all just bake a cake and eat and
And
whatever.
rainbows
Yeah, and
yeah,
be
oh my god.
happy. Yeah,
Yes,
call to
and that's
action.
crazy, like, the overstimulating and the parasocial relationships, that is so real because everything is an exchange of energy, and so
Yeah,
you signing things after a show when you've just given your whole heart and your energy on the stage to an audience, then physically, like, writing your signature is you giving another little bit of yourself to someone, which is so
for
wonderful and
sure.
so kind, but then it is already such a gift that you are at the stage door. I feel stage door culture, I don't know if it is changing or needs to change, but just the access that people feel entitled to the people that they admire through social media has then entitled us to perhaps get a little closer than we want to. Or, yeah, I don't know. I've heard crazy stories from the 80s and 90s. Stage door culture perhaps escalated now that we have this extra digital access to people, but just being kind and respectful of people's time and energy.
Love doing it. It's one of my favorite parts of this job is like connecting with those people. But then it's like you have the people that are that are not nice and it's like, "Dang, don't
Yeah.
don't ruin it for other folks, you know?"
There, you are giving as much as you can, and no is an appropriate answer.
For
in
sure.
any situation, and we need to respect
Yes.
that.
That's for
Okay,
everyone.
last couple questions. What I asked people if they have questions for actors. What does your actors access look like? Does your team help you figure that out? Do you have clips of you singing on it, or people know you, they know your work, you don't have to put every slate shot up there?
I don't know if I have actors access.
That's
Don't
beautiful.
know what it looks I honest to God, like, I have not laid eyes on that, so I
That is
don't
the
know.
dream.
And I'm so
That is the
that is
dream. I
that
s
is and it's I that's gonna that it sounds really, like, bad.
No, it doesn't. That's the
My
goal.
team have I'm so fortunate that I have an incredible team that I've been with since 2018, and all of my auditions go and come through them, so that I'm very fortunate to have that. Yeah.
That is stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, because so much of it is when you're in that space between you're not a green artist, but you don't have a Broadway credit yet, and you perhaps have a team, but you're still trying to figure out what exactly your footprint is going to be. And your
For
first
sure.
impression, you can overanalyze that to its grave. So the fact that you don't have to do that is like
It's
chef's
very
kiss.
yes, I feel very fortunate, yeah, but that is such an important tool, I feel, and, like, I think putting I work with a lot of students now too, and the conversation with, like, social media too and posting stuff, like, whether it be, like, a reel or clips of people singing, and I'm like, it is a digital world that we're now living in, and so I think those things are important. So, like,
Mhm.
obviously, I think getting other people to put eyes on what it is that you're using online to represent yourself, putting your best stuff out there and making sure it looks professional and great and something that you're proud of and like want people to see. So, yeah, I think that's definitely important.
Yay. What is your favorite part about the rehearsal process or backstage? Being in community with your fellow castmates and creative team? Any
I
highlights?
Yeah, I think with Schmigadoon, just because this is that I'm fresh out of this rehearsal process, this cast is like legendary comedians. And so going into the rehearsal room every day was so much fun. Seeing everyone's different choices that they would bring in from day to day, trying different things during the preview process, having people try new jokes from night to night, seeing what lands and what
Hmm.
doesn't. That has been such a joy to experience. Everyone's just like making everyone else level up all the time, constantly. Everyone is
Yes.
so on it. I was literally calling it like Chris Catelli has assembled this team of like comedic Avengers in this show. So just getting to be in the room with some of these people and watching them work is so
Hmm.
inspiring and really cool.
I love that. Last question. What are your wishes for the industry? Is there anything you wish could change? Is there
Yeah.
anything you wish could be better? What are
Yeah.
your hopes and
I
dreams?
mean, I yearn for the days where lots of shows were coming out and it was a lot of original material. Like I think back to like the 90s and early
Yeah.
2000s of it all. And I feel like right now, but it does come with the culture and it does come with the times that a lot of things are being just taken from film and TV, my show being one of them. And it's
Hmm.
fabulous. It is. I do miss, I feel like the days when it's like those opportunities were more freely given to people with original material where now it's like it's so commercialized and I feel like a lot of the times it's like, well, what big star can we get in for this and what big movie that was super popular can we create into this musical, which is great and a lot of great amazing work is coming from that. But also it's like gosh, like I don't know, like thinking about like The Drowsy Chaperone, like, some of the golden
Yes.
age, like, musicals that I just, like, yearn for, and I think through doing this show too, it makes me miss, like, those kinds of shows and, like, that kind of material and, like, having it be so original, I think is something that I think about often and, like but I get it, it's also the time that we live in, and
Hmm.
that's a real thing, and that's what people like these days coming to New York are coming to see and hoping to see. So it's like that's going to change with the times as things do and maybe someday the pendulum will swing back the other way. But yeah, maybe that's one thing I would say.
I agree with that. And I think it's hard. A lot of people, because we are creatives, hope for original material. We hope for uplifting our artistry and our community and tell
Mhm.
stories that are representative of those people. And that should be the name of the game always.
Yeah.
However, on Broadway, rather than in the UK where you have the National Theater, we are renting spaces, which means producers need to know that they're going to get a return on their investment, hopefully. So things that are already tried and true in TV or in movies, and even then, that doesn't always work out, but it is a business and it's hard to grapple with the business aspects of that and the
Sure.
creative heartbeat of what we do. I agree with you. I really
I
want more
understand
original
it. Yeah, like,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
understand it, and, like, I get and it's so easy for me to sit here and be like, "We need more," you know what I mean? And it's like,
No,
well,
but
then
it's true.
write it, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's just so hard to find the balance between how do you continue working and putting work out there and continuing to keep our industry alive. I want to see that
Agreed.
work. Oh my gosh, we have this incredible show and you get to
There you
go do
go.
it. I am so excited for you.
Thank
And thanks
you.
for taking the time to come on.
My gosh, of
This is
course, thank you for having
incredible.
me. This was a great convo, and thank you so much.
I feel like I learned so much. Yay. Thank you
You
for
are the
coming. So
hostess with the mostest, darling.
I'm the hostess with the mostest. I'm
You
ready. All
are.
right.
That was McKenzie Kurtz, and I could not be more grateful to her for being the very first guest on Tea Time with Mikayla. What I loved so much about this conversation is that it really captured the heart of what I hope this show can be. We talked about the work, of course, but also the person inside the work, the sleep, vocal rest, boundaries, self-tape spirals, the team behind the performer, the discipline and humor, and the very real balancing act of making art inside of a business. I especially loved what McKenzie shared about trusting timing, advocating for herself, and remembering that what is meant for you can still find its way to you, even when the path doesn't always look the way you thought it would. That feels like a very beautiful first cup of tea for the show. Thank you so much for listening to our first official episode. If you love this conversation, I'm going to tell you to do all the things I'm supposed to tell you to do. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, and send it to your theater bestie, your audition debrief group chat, or anyone who has ever spiraled over a self-tape and needed to be reminded that 3 takes is probably enough. You can follow on Instagram and TikTok, either at my handle, Mikayla Petrilla, or at Tea Time the Podcast, where we'll be sharing clips, guest announcements, behind-the-scenes moments, and ways for you to send in your own questions for future episodes. Because the show is not just me asking questions. It is about building a little community around the questions we all have. Thank you so much to McKenzie. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network, and thank you for being here at the very beginning. The kettle is on, and I will see you next time on Tea Time with Mikayla. That was McKenzie Kurtz, and I could not be more grateful to her for being the very first guest on Tea Time with Mikayla. What I loved so much about this conversation is that it really captured the heart of what I hope this show can be. We talked about the work, of course, but also the person inside the work, the sleep, vocal rest, boundaries, self-tape spirals, the team behind the performer, the discipline and humor, and the very real balancing act of making art inside of a business. I especially loved what McKenzie shared about trusting timing, advocating for herself, and remembering that what is meant for you can still find its way to you, even when the path doesn't always look the way you thought it would. That feels like a very beautiful first cup of tea for the show. Thank you so much for listening to our first official episode. If you love this conversation, I'm going to tell you to do all the things I'm supposed to tell you to do. Follow, subscribe, rate, review, and send it to your theater bestie, your audition debrief group chat, or anyone who has ever spiraled over a self-tape and needed to be reminded that 3 takes is probably enough. You can follow on Instagram and TikTok, either at my handle, Mikayla Petrilla, or at Tea Time the Podcast, where we'll be sharing clips, guest announcements, behind-the-scenes moments, and ways for you to send in your own questions for future episodes. Because the show is not just me asking questions. It is about building a little community around the questions we all have. Thank you so much to McKenzie. Thank you to the Broadway Podcast Network, and thank you for being here at the very beginning. The kettle is on, and I will see you next time on Tea Time with Mikayla.